I'll tell you, I think this kind of stuff's fun. This is actually why it's fun to be like an old veteran a little bit. Because because I talked about the binder. Here was my first script book. Here was my second scripts book. Here was Expired Edge. This is literally how I became an expired. And there's a point I'm going to make. All of these things came from events I went to. So Expired Edge was a 3-day event that I went to.
Right.
2-day event, 3-day event, 2 days. Tom was always holding everything in Southern California before he moved to Texas, Tom Ferry. And I hired coaches from, I was in the business for 2 months when I hired a coach. I hear agents all the time, oh, I got to get some sales going. And look, I appreciate that. Don't let me be the guy that says go spend money you don't have. But I always just looked at it like a business. So businesses spend money, they invest in things. So if you look at real estate, and I hope that this is a paradigm that could help somebody out here today, I always talk about Jimmy John's all the time. Okay. I use Jimmy John's because the product is so consistent
Right.
and it's fresh. And I mean, it's not like McDonald's. I don't like McDonald's as an example because I think McDonald's sucks. Okay. Jimmy John's. Going to Jimmy John's in Idaho Falls or Boise or St. George, Utah or Salt Lake City or LA. First of all, an 18-year-old kid is going to sell you the sandwich. Second of all, a 20-year-old kid is going to make the sandwich. Third of all, first thing you need to understand is it's always just right.
Right.
Okay. System, process, model. That's number one. Number two is this. You know, your local Jimmy John's franchisee, we could Google it. They spent at least a half million opening their store. Dude, a full TI build out of a store with equipment, it was a $500,000. And then they hire like 20 people, at least, probably 30. And realtors are like, I don't know. I don't know if I can hire a coach for 2 calls a month for 600. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, dude?
Yeah.
Like, and you're going, have you heard yourself? Your local restaurant opened up with this massive investment, and you don't think that you can invest 500 a month in some mailers for 12 months to your database or whatever it is to build a business? This is crazy.
Yeah.
So Jimmy John's, like they teach us a lot. We just didn't know it.
So that's what. So my dad used to own a couple of businesses, and the inventory. They had a big warehouse to store the inventory. They manufactured it, and it was this whole big processing deal, right? So when I understood that real estate was a business, I was like,
Mhm.
I have inventory, and then I start thinking of all of the cool things about it, and a lot of the great things. And I, I mean, this is one that we want to clip because I think real estate, being a real estate agent, is the best business opportunity that there is. It's the to get into it is very, very easy. It's a class, it's a course. You take it, it's 2 weeks, you take some tests, and you're in it. You're able to get inventory that you don't have to store in your basement. You don't have to store it in your garage,
Yes.
right? Like
So good.
you have to manage your own, but you get access to other inventory. And really, it's just how far or how much you want to learn. And, previously when you were talking, I wrote down, we need to stop working so hard on our business and start working hard on ourselves and our coaching and our, things like that. And if
Brother.
we just focused on working hard on ourselves and the studying, I mean, you held up 3 binders of scripts right there. And if we could get really, really good at those, all of the hard things in our business that we claim that we'd be working hard on would come so much easier.
Oh, look, I mean, one of the things that some of our listeners know, but you and I both are partnered with a company called Place. And so, we got this AI call coach. It's like you call in and this isn't Chat GPT. this thing's interacting. It's a pain in the ass every time too. I'm like, man, did you just program it to have the worst people in the world on here? And so, but back in the day, I mean, which isn't still not back in the day, it could have been yesterday for a lot of people. Was scripting and dialoguing. So I got into Tom's coaching program and they said, "Oh, you got to get a role play partner and get one from our network." So I had a couple of guys that I called in the week during the week, and I'd call and they trained us like this isn't chit chat. You're not going to talk about the movie or the game. Yeah, sometimes you talked about the game, but I'd call and say, "Morgan, cool, you want to do expires?" And you'd say, "Yeah." And I'd say, "Do you want to be buyer or seller?" And you'd say, or buyer or agent or seller or agent. And I'd say, you'd say, agent, and we'd go.
Right.
And you do around and I do around and I'd say, that was cool, dude. Go crush it today.
Right.
And so, and between that and reading these scripts and listening, the other thing you said is about working on yourself. So this is kind of funny. I'm only working with a total of two coaches currently. It's crazy. I'm investing more in coaching this year than in my whole career this year, ever. And one of them is actually Matthew Ferry, which is Tom's brother, who is not a real estate. I mean, he's one of the great sales coaches ever. He has a book called Creating Sales Velocity. It's I think we basically calls it like mastery level manifesting, which sounds kind of woo-woo, but it's really about working on yourself.
Right.
Hey, go figure. Go figure if you actually work on yourself.
Right.
And the other is my coach. He coaches me to become a coach, to build my coaching business. The funny thing about it is in the same 12-hour period, yesterday with Matthew, it's a group. There's 22 of us in the group. And this morning with Jason, two different genres. They don't know who each other is. They both said, your entire job is to regulate yourself, your nervous system. Like that's your whole job. I mean, how you sell is you have to regulate your nervous system. And they both said too much force and too much grinding that the industry taught us to do, it has a ceiling, has a
Yeah.
lid. How much you going to grind?
Right.
Well, I was 8 hours, so I did 10, 12, 14, 16. Like you can't keep going.
Right.
So isn't it funny that two high-level coaches, 12 hours apart, completely separate genres are like, you got to work on yourself, man. You're the product.
I love that. And I love that you brought up coaching, and I love that you talk about the value that you're getting and versus the value that you're paying. And when somebody looks up how much you're paying for it, they get blown away, but they don't understand the value. And
This year it's way, way, way past five figures. So it's a lot. And I've done some coaching that didn't work, but you can already guess why it didn't work.
because you didn't work.
I didn't work.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, I wanted my coach to fix me.
Right. I was
Yeah, sorry.
I was in early in my career, I was dead broke, and I had like $0, and I had stuff just blowing up, and I was probably 3-4 months out from a paycheck. You know what I mean? Like not
Yeah.
just like zero, but like reversal. And so I had to decide. I knew I needed to do something different, and anyway, I was at KW and they came and did Bold, and there was a guy there and he talked about coaching, and he gave the spiel that Tiger Woods had a
Sure.
coach and
Sure.
Michael Jordan had a coach. And so I thought, well, I just need to do something different, and maybe this is what it is. And so I accepted, this coaching, and they put me into it, and I got in this mindset that I decided I was going to humble myself and do whatever this person told me to do. Whether I wanted to do it or not, they obviously knew, and I was going to do whatever this person wanted to do. And also, by the way, this is poor thinking, but it's true. I had no money and I was thinking about buying a truck. And I was like, if I do this MAPS coaching, that's $1,000 a month, and this truck payment's $700 a month. And that little thing that I listened to in my head was just buy the truck 6 months later. Let's see how this coaching goes. But I got in that coach and I did everything she told me to do, everything. And I was a student to her, and I was, just did anything she told me to do, and everything she said, I took notes on, and it was all about execution. And what was crazy is the momentum of that 6 months. I mean, I went from a guy who was broke to, in 6 months, when we would do brokers opens and we would do what's called tour, where everybody would jump in multiple vehicles and we're caravan around to all these listings that we had in the office. And I had like 4 of these listings on this tour. And at the time, I mean, you go from 0 to 4 listings, like that's a big deal. And anyway,
Sure.
it was crazy because I look back and I can honestly say that all of the success, it was just all wisdom and things and habits that I learned from coaches that were right. And it was things that were uncomfortable, and I didn't love to hear them, and they stung most of the time. Every time they would say things and I didn't agree, I mean, it didn't like just suck. It like burned into my soul, you know? And anyway, I think coaching is awesome. And let's talk, I mean, while we're on that, let's talk about your coaching and what that looks like and how you're doing it and what you're loving about it.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. So it's funny. I left that room and came in here. Yeah, it's like this is actually gets more funny. I was on with Jason, my coach, and I was like, "Okay, I gotta leave," and I left the Zoom room, went to the bathroom, came back, jumped in that Zoom room and coached for 90 minutes, and then I left that room and came on this one. I'm kind of zoomed out, so it's okay. It's 2026, right? So I want to say this. I thought what I was going to coach on is not what I ended up coaching on. I thought I'm going to coach people to be like the greatest salespeople in the whole world
Right.
because that was my forte. But I woke up one day and realized, no, I'm what, how do I say this? That's so tactical. I want to make a bigger impact. And I know that that matters to people, but they can get sales training anywhere. And by the way, we do sales training,
Right.
but the focus is truly transformational work, and it is not terribly one-on-one. I keep 5 open one-on-one spots available because I don't really, the reason I only have 5 is I don't want to have more calls on my schedule. The period. I'm just
Right.
like, we're not doing it, right? So it's group. Right now, I'm running a group called the Made for More Collective, and average production in the room is 48 deals a year. It's pretty cool. And I learned from them. So the Realtor roadmap is what I would call my philosophy, but the collective is the private room. It's all group, and we work 90 minutes a week. We have a WhatsApp that we chat in literally every day. And I use the roadmap, which is basically a 12-step process to teach, but we don't teach in order. We can get in there and go, okay, well, this is week 2. Now it's week 3. So today was all in the showing partner model, the whole call. But the first 10 minutes, we talked about energy, and I beat the crap out of them for the way they manage their energy. And then maybe it's 15 minutes in a loving way. And then we moved into the showing partner. And one of the guys in my group, Lindsay, who's going to sell 50 homes this year in South Carolina, we had his showing partner on with us. And so the focus of my group, the target market is if you're an agent selling 24 homes a year or more, and you're experiencing the consequences of success, this is my phrase, and people know what I'm talking about. And here's how I always know. I'll say, hey, Morgan, if I called your wife right now, or, this is like, I'll always ask people this, called your spouse and asked them about your business and their experience of your business, what would they say? I'm trying not to laugh because the answers, every time they're like, well, I mean, you already know. She or he says, I'm always on the phone and I'm always distracted and I'm not present. I'm like, cool, how's that working out for you? Well, it sucks. So our focus, what we're doing is helping people install operating rhythms, structure, processes, calendar, and leverage so they can have a life. And the funny part about my business today, I'm only speaking for me. You invited me on. I haven't done one thing for my business today. It's just operating. Dude, well, let me back up. I did a live radio show. I actually recorded two podcasts in the morning, but we do them for the radio. They're 30 minutes each. I haven't talked to a client. I certainly don't show homes. We have an event tomorrow morning. I talked to my team about that for like 10 minutes. Um, this isn't every day, but do you kind of get what I'm inferring for our
For
listeners?
for sure.
My business is happening. Now, sometimes I spend more time in it, but it's just like agents don't build businesses, they build hustles mostly. And the hustle works if they work. And if they stop working, it stops. So then they go, well, I don't want to hire an assistant. I don't know if I could afford it. Or I tried to hire one before and it didn't work. Well, that's because you didn't have a good system and you were a crappy trainer,
Yeah.
usually.
Yeah.
So I'm giving you a long answer.
I love
I'm
that.
I'm launching in about 4 months a secondary pillar called Ascent. You have to have a cool name. Ascent is based on the same things. It's going to be more for helping agents get into production. It's going to be a lot lower ticket. So people spend about 6 grand in my program to be in there for 6 to 12 months. Depends on how we do it. They may spend a little more, invest. But Ascent is going to be more accessible for people a little bit, a couple $100 a month. Just because I came to find out there's this whole massive group of really committed full-time agents that are selling, they've sold 3 or 4 homes up to 10 or 12, and they want to ascend. And I just think there's a huge, they need, and you know what they need, dude? They need a weekly call in a group where there are peers, big time. So I don't think one-on-one coaching is as helpful as we all thought it was. I really don't.
You don't think one-on-one is? Is that what you're
I
thinking?
mean, it's fine. I think that group community coaching where you have your peers around is really powerful.
I agree. And I would say
I don't
coaching
know.
in general is only as strong as the person doing it. And
Sure.
and I know this from my own experience. If I'm not feeling it and then you're just hitting me over the head with a hammer once or twice a week over and over and over, you drop out. You just like,
Correct.
"Ah." But if you're in the mindset of no, I'm going to run alongside you and I'm going to everything you tell me what I need to do, I'm going to do it and we're going to do it together, then that's just a whole different experience. And I know that you coaching, you've had to have had both of those types.
Yeah, correct, correct. Yeah, well, I've definitely had both types. And one of the things, like if you read my Instagram bio, it says something like, I help realtors get off of the income roller coaster and build a predictable, profitable present business in life. Just meaning we there's something to be said for the 9 to 5, man. Like, how many of your 9 to 5 friends do you know that are like really stressed out? Not very many.
Right.
But realtors are just stressed out. And I don't like it. It is my greatest complaint about the industry as a whole.
Right.
Like it really, really grinds my gears, man. I'm like, what are we going to do about this? So there you go.
When you say that, I have a buddy who has a great job, and we were talking, and he was talking about my life, and then how stressful his life is, and we were just kind of asking each other about stresses, and it was like what you're saying, like his was like more of a choice. Mine is too. It's all a choice, but
Sure.
I was like, your stress is this and my stress is this, and we were joked and I was like, well, if you want a lot of stress, have about $8 million of debt, that you got to make sure is always being covered, on different projects or different things. And I mean, if you ask Dustin Runyon, I mean, that's a sliver of what he's doing. But then if you ask one of my other friends, that's like a mountain of what a debt
Mhm.
compared to what they have. And he was like, "Oh my gosh." And I was like, "Yeah." And the stress is different. And that's why I do feel like people kind of hunker in those 9 to 5s and they get their check every Friday and it feels good. And it feels like you can just, I don't know, you can breathe on that. But then sometimes that paycheck to paycheck, I'm sure gets a little stressful for them as well. But also as real estate agents, when you're talking about that we run it as a hustle and we run it as a hobby and we don't run it as a business, like we shouldn't be working paycheck to paycheck as real estate agents.
No, no, if and let's break this down to like something that could be useful on a Monday morning, whatever day. What day do you release your podcast? It's the day after that,
Tuesdays.
Tuesdays. Okay, so this could be useful on Wednesday morning. If most agents would literally do this, and this is what I'm going to say, guys, is so unnovel. This might be like, I'm going to warn you with a funny analogy. A Christmas Story, the movie.
Yeah.
He has the orphan nanny to code a ring in the bathroom. And he gets in, he's like, drink more Ovaltine, son of a bitch, crummy commercial. Um, he's like, that's it. If you would show up at the office at 8 or 8:30, I didn't say 7,
Right.
8 or 8:30, spend the entire morning in some sort of a business building block, lead generation, call it what you want. Call expireds, call for sale by owners, call your sphere of influence, follow up on your old leads for 2 to 4 hours. Go in the afternoon and say, every afternoon, my entire goal is to go on at least one appointment every freaking day. That's always the goal. And if it's not, I'm going to preview properties or go to an open house. If you would just do that for 90 days, you'd be shocked.
Yeah.
I've noticed, you know what I didn't say? Come in at 7, stay till 7, work every hour. Actually, I don't recommend it. The funny part about my career is I didn't really do that very much. I got pretty structured pretty early. So I don't know.
Uh,
Uh,
Dude, I love that. I love it. I love it. I had a goal that when I started trying to kickstart my business, and it, like again, I think 60 to 90 days is really all that it takes if you're purposeful on the actions that you're taking. If you're going through the motions, it's going to take a hell of a lot longer than that if it even works. But if you can just be 60 days, enough that you get enough wins and that you can stack those wins and see momentum, 60 to 90 days is all you need to be able to see that. And
oh,
then you can
yeah.
calculate what checks are coming from that. And you can start sourcing where those checks are coming from for the activities that you were doing.
Well, yes. And you talked about going through the motions. Something I shared earlier. I didn't know that it was profound, but I'm realizing there was a lesson. I pulled up a spreadsheet, guys, while we were on this call with no prep and told you where I sourced my business in 2006. That's called a business.
Yeah.
I actually had a record. And by the way, the fun part is in that spreadsheet was the name and the address and every single thing from the transaction, the commission, the price. Now it's in a CRM. But and this is why, and also, Morgan, let me go back earlier. Do you see why I said that the first decision I made to actually build a business shaped everything?
Yeah.
Shaped everything. That decision it was the crux decision that everything was built on.
It changed all your actions and all
Correct.
your decisions from there on out.
Correct. And
It was the
yeah,
standard.
well, and here's the other thing. What kept you coming back? That because, dude, there have been some crappy times. Oh,
Uh,
so
so Jeremy, one other thing that, thinking about this and being on this call and, one of the, I guess the last one, I mean, things chat about is how do you keep your energy so high? How do you always have a positive energy? How do you keep your energy so high?
Dude, that's a hard question. Today's actually an interesting day because of the back to back to back. Um, I've kept myself really healthy, and I'm going to qualify that. If you followed me around, you wouldn't find that I'm like the cleanest eater, so to speak, or you know what I mean? What you'd find out is I don't overeat. I'm going to give you practical stuff. I don't overeat. Um, I snack a lot during the day. Today I didn't have a full meal in the morning, which is rare. And so I had a banana and took the dogs on the trail hiking. And then I had to record this podcast. So I drank a nuri shake because I was in a hurry. And then I had a fig bar. And then I had a thing of like the Costco Kirkland, the little trail mix is the little antioxidant mix.
Yeah.
And then I had a kind bar. I've had all of that today because what happened was I could tell my energy was starting to wane. And so what I was doing is I was snacking.
Right.
Um, I'm only giving this to you because I think this is practically helpful for somebody. Yes, I drink caffeine. Bloom, by the way, bro, Bloom energy drinks. It's like we're like in a Bloom is like Chat GPT for me. It's like we're buddies. Okay. I want stock in the company. Okay. So I drink some caffeine, but I think I just remind myself that we don't have to show up all the time. We just have to show up when it's time to show up.
Right.
I'm really good at taking time for myself, and I'm going to give you two real examples that happened this week. 2 days ago, I had a series of kind of unfortunate events, like mentally. I had two migraine headaches, and it was in 2 days, and it was weird. It really threw me off. When I could see that I couldn't do it anymore, I went home at 3 o'clock and I got in my pool and I floated around for 2 hours on like a Tuesday. And people go, "Oh, that's really privileged of you. Like, are you rich?" No, I live in a 1960 mid-modern home, by the way. I don't live in a mansion or a gated. This is number one. Number two is that was Tuesday. And yesterday, I was left feeling really sick from the migraines, like just kind of like foggy. So I never left the house and I worked at my bar in my kitchen with my two dogs for 3 hours. And I did nothing but creative work, which is what I really like to do. I was writing content for my coaching program. And then I jumped in the pool and then I transitioned to my office and I did a few things here. And I went home and I just didn't do anything for the rest of the day. And then I ended up riding my bike up in Cedar City, Utah in the evening because it's 40 minutes away and it was a lot cooler. So I sat in my pool for 2 hours Tuesday. I never came into the office basically for almost the whole day yesterday. Today, guys, I have two radio show recordings, some time with my team, my own coaching that I'm a client in, my coaching group that I coach, a podcast with you, I have call behind it. I'm only pointing this out to say, do you see how it's kind of like
Right.
it's little waves? And by the way, after this today, I'm not going to do almost anything the rest of the day. I'm not because I know I'll be tired. That's how I manage my energy, man. Like that is an actual practice. And the last one is I try to get sleep,
I love it.
like not awesome sleep, but I try to sleep.
Well, awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Before I let you go, I want to ask you, I mean, what is if you could give yourself advice, like 20 years ago starting this business, if you could go back and tell that person something, what would you tell them?
Mm. I would say I'm going to use one of the great cliches ever, but I'm going to set it up with my uncle's phrase. It's going to take longer, cost more money, and be more frustrating than you think, which is Rome wasn't built in a day.
Right.
And I think I would tell myself almost exactly what I did tell myself, but remember this idea of it's going to take a while to build this, so just build a business. I don't have the hindsight. I didn't have hindsight. So as cool as that sounds now, I was kind of like feeling through the dark at the time. But I would say, hey, I've lived this before. Some people have lived before. This is just going to take time. Settle in and don't burn yourself out because there are going to be a lot of like hills and valleys, man.
I love it.
That's serious. I think it's the best thing I can tell somebody.
What's some of the best advice you've ever gotten when it comes to this business?
Um, as dumb as it could sound, we're in a talk to people business. It was Tom Ferry. We're in a talk to people business. And I think that there is a generation of people that think that they're going to pull this all off on Instagram. And remember, your algorithm feeds you what you want. So if you find somebody who randomly was really dominating on Instagram, by the way, you can use Instagram to generate business. That's not what we're saying. But you still have to talk to people. So if you find that one person who somehow pulled off, oh, I just all my leads come through Insta, then your feed starts feeding you that, and then it tells you this story. And I think that we're losing sight of the fact that we have to talk to people. So
Talk
it's
to
like, sorry
people.
guys.
Talk to more people.
Yeah, you can't just text them all. There will have to be like, you know what I mean? A
Right.
conversation
Right.
where you sign the contract and you make decisions.
I love it. Well, Jeremy, thanks for being a good friend, man. And thanks for,
Thank you, dude.
also being super excited when I called to have you on this. I love our chat and let's catch up soon. And if you ever need anything from me, please let me know.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm going to compliment you. How many shows have you done?
What's that?
How many shows have you done?
52.
So it takes this looks fun from the outside. It is fun,
Right.
but there is something 52. So this exactly 52 shows, 52 weeks of shows.
Yep.
That's serious, man. Like very few people stick with something like that. So well
I,
done, bro.
I appreciate you. Let's chat soon.
Okay, talk again. See
See
you,
you.
man.
Bye.